guys, thought I'd go live. I know obviously World's Strongest Man's happening, but I've been doing all these posts and things and I just wanted to speak to someone. So I've got it on my laptop as well. Oh, let me just turn that off. I've got it on my laptop as well, just so I can actually read the questions rather than having to squint at my phone. So if you guys have got any questions, anything you want to ask me about what's happened so far, your predictions maybe, and I can have a bit of a chat with you guys. So let's see if anyone's got any questions. So it says, what's the current standings? So I have posted that. JF Caron and Alexei Novikov, off memory, are in first place on 32 points each. Behind them is Jerry Pritchett, and then under Jerry by a point, I believe, is Adam Bishop. So those four guys, they're at the top of the leaderboard, and it will be very difficult for anyone else to overtake them unless there's some real upset. I believe they're all pretty good at things like the log press and also the stone. So it's anyone's call, really. Personally, I want JF to win. I've always said from the start it would be JF Caron to take the title. No reason other than he's been very consistent and it's his time. A bit like Martins, he had a couple of years coming in fourth place and eventually just took the title. And he would be a real great champion as well. He's a really nice guy. And when I spent some time talking to him at the Arnold Classic, he just seemed really genuine and he's just a really nice guy. I think he definitely deserves it. Let me have a quick look what's going on here. What are the weights of the logs? So, to my knowledge, there's 4 logs. It's 140, 160, 180 and 200 kilos. So, all men very capable of the first 3 logs. Tom Stoltman, definitely capable of the 4th. I haven't seen some of the guys press over 180, so it'll be I think it would be a PR potentially if JF got it and some of the other guys. So, I'm not aware of that many other guys doing 200. Especially after all these days of competition and also the other events they've done today. So, they're not going in fresh either. What else have we got here? Lots of love for Canada and JF. Novikov wins, definitely a possibility. This kid has absolutely smashed the comp so far, winning against people twice his size almost. A bit like Mateusz, he's a very good, young, healthy competitor. So long may that continue, and he definitely also deserves a shot at the title if he gets it. Completely earned against the competition. I mean, Brian Shaw's in there. There's not really anyone missing. Zadrunas has been out for a few years now. We know Hafthor's retired and Martins has an injury, and Eddie Hall's also retired. But when those big names do step down, other big names come through, and he's definitely going to be one of those for the future. Do we think Brian will retire? I know Brian personally, haven't spoken for a little while. He really wanted 6 titles. He wants to beat Mariusz Pudzianowski's outright World's Strongest Man record. But how many times does he come back? I mean, he's still younger than me. I'm 40, I think he's 38. So definitely a load more miles there. Think about Zadrunas. He's still competing into his early 40s. So, Brian could have another 5 to 7 years if he wants it. But with the competition coming in like it is, younger people... the weights are getting heavier and Brian getting older. It's hard to say, but I'll leave that for Brian. He definitely knows what he's doing. Maybe there were some issues this year. Having looked at those Hercules hold times, they're pretty low if you ask me. A lot of the guys are normally in the 40, 50 second mark, and there was too many guys, in my opinion, sub 30. But it is what it is, and we'll find out at Christmas when they finally decide to air the thing. Thanks for covering it all. No worries, Pedro. What else have we got here? When do we find out the results? Well, technically, you're not supposed to know the results. Myself and Cale Beck at Starting Strongman and various other people all around the world, we all come together and do this as a bit of a team effort. So it's not just Julian Howard, it's not just me. I'm heavily networked with a lot of athletes, fans, people on the ground. It doesn't really matter where the information comes from as long as we get it, but we do work a bit of a team here. You will have seen the spreadsheet, so I've put a link there quite a few times and you'll see the scores will get updated occasionally. I will state that is not my spreadsheet. I didn't put it together, but I do share it for the people involved who will remain nameless. But I do also get scores sometimes before the spreadsheet and sometimes afterwards. But between us, you will definitely get the information. how many Brits, how have the Brits done? We've got quite a few Brits in the final. Tom Stoltman has obviously dropped a few points after that Hercules hold, but Adam Bishop is still holding fast in the top 4. So my prediction for podium would be JF Caron, followed by Novikov, followed by Adam Bishop. But you never know, you could swap Bishop out with Jerry Pritchett, or anything could happen. I mean, Tom Stoltman, highly likely to win the Stones, and a really strong position to win the log ladder, because his log is also extremely good. So 2 events for Tom. I think that gets him on the podium, but probably not the title. So he's definitely fighting for that podium space now. What else have we got here? Any more news on Novikov? He's second, or joint. Sorry, he's joint first at the moment on 32 points. He's still fine. We've done the weights of the logs. Why did they not stream? Really look forward to watching it with a friend. Okay, so it's a bit of a question that gets asked an awful lot. So with things like World's Strongest Man, it's a TV show of a strongman competition. So all the rules go out the window. So things like the Arnold Classic, things like the normal Giants live shows, even though Giants are actually putting this thing on, they don't apply here, because America and the UK pay millions of pounds for the rights, the TV rights, to put this on television. It's been on TV in the UK around Christmas time for about 41, 42 years now, so they're not likely to change that. It used to be on the BBC, and now you'll find it in the UK on Channel 5. And I think it's airing the last week of December. The reason they don't stream it live is because otherwise they wouldn't get the millions of pounds for the TV investment. So unless you guys, and I guess myself, can find a way to help Colin and the co sort of capitalise on a live stream instead of a TV show, I don't think it's going to happen. It will almost be impossible, because we're the hardcore fans, we love this. But the people at Christmas, you're hitting millions of people, just general public, who happen to be watching television. So if there's a halfway house, if there's any way Colin can make it happen, I'm sure he will. I'd love to see it shown twice, because normally World's Strongest Man happens May time, April, May, and it's only due to things like the current situation that's pushed it back till to November. So it's really good this year, because it's only a few weeks to wait, so we shouldn't be moaning. But if it was me, and if it was a normal year, I'd get it edited ASAP, show it in America and the UK at the same time, so June, July time, and show it again at Christmas, because people will just watch it naturally, because it's part of, like in some UK houses, it's a bit of a ritual. You know, you always sit around with the family, you have the Christmas meal, and then you watch World's Strongest Man. And even if you saw it 8 months before, you're going to watch it again, because it's the best telly there is at Christmas, isn't it? And that also would give them double TV slot and potentially double income. I don't know how the TV side of things work, but I'd like to think so. Do I think the strongest man ever is Zydrunas, Thor, or Brian? I'm going to take friendships and put them to one side. I absolutely love Big Z. Absolute legend. Thor, having done what he did last, was it 2018, has been the strongest athlete we've ever had. So not necessarily the greatest. The greatest is Zydrunas, in my opinion, with his 8 Arnold Classic titles, his 4 World Strongest Man titles, his 2 IFSA World Strongest Man titles, and I think, is he 15 Lithuania Strongest Man titles? I'm running out, but Zydrunas is the greatest, without a doubt, and Hafthor will be the strongest. And that will be because he's beaten the recent world record on the deadlift with 501 kilo, and he made it look easy. He also has put up some crazy training videos, but in 2018 I believe he won the World Strongest Man, the Arnold Classic, Europe's Strongest Man, and the World Ultimate Strongman, and that's never been done and probably will never be done again. So in terms of outright strength, I'd have to say Hafthor. If you go back to the 80s, then it's Bill Kazmaier, but we've got to be realistic and go with now, and we're talking about the greatest ever, so I have to go with heaviest weight moved. And in my opinion, it's Hafthor. But Zydrunas is the greatest. What else have we got here? 2021, where will it be? I'm really pushing for Scotland. I think Gregor Edmonds, his father passed away, and Dougie Edmonds was a massive influence on the sport. He helped put it together, and he ran it for quite a few years. And I think, money aside, it should be done regardless. Scotland will find a way to monetize it. I'm very sure of that. They've got some amazing backgrounds and places and locations they could hold it. Think about, turning it into a strength festival, a bit like the Highland Games. So film your TV show. Do it over a week or 2 weeks if there's no time pressures. But during that time, they can definitely capitalise and make up the shortfall in money by having a bit of a festival, I feel, with, you know, like you could have stalls, you can have sponsors there, you can have a band playing in the evening after the show finishes. You could really make it a festival of strength for a week and film in between with a great crowd of people that are going to be really supportive, not only of the athletes, but also of just the show itself, which I think that's my idea in my little perfect world that I live in. What else have we got here? Wouldn't Novikov be the smallest athlete to win since Yoko Ahola? Yes, I think he is. I don't think he's small as such, but he's definitely smaller than people like Brian Shaw. So awesome to see him holding his own and proving you do not need to be a 6'9" monster to compete at World's Strongest Man, just as Yoko did. What else we got here? Novikov is fresh this year. Oh God, I can't even keep up with the comments. I do think, coming from a powerlifting background, it's likely he's not used to accumulated fatigue over the course of World's Strongest Man. It's number of events versus 3 events in powerlifting. I think he's talking about Brian Shaw there. I'm not sure. I've got to keep up with these comments. Did 5 million comps last year. Oh, okay, he's probably talking about Mateusz then. Mateusz does this as a full-time job, so if he doesn't compete and he doesn't win, he doesn't earn any money, so he needs to do this. And now he's injured, he's going to obviously have to be careful for a few months until he can get back at it. I think he stated in a few videos 6 to 8 months. Shame about Brian, really thought he'd be higher up. Me too. I had him as second on the podium. Now I don't even think he can make the podium, even by winning both events. So it is a shame, but let's see if he can beat 6th place from last year. Tom is going to win the Stones. I think he will. Could be fun if Caron won World's Strongest Man. Really would be. I think I might go and get a beer and a pizza. Celebrate with everyone. Caron, go get it, my man. Any rumours? Oh, what's that say? Any rumours if Tom has picked up a minor injury, seems to be underperforming? I haven't heard anything. And you know, if I hear something, I generally spill it, even if I shouldn't. So I've not heard anything about Tom. JF Caron to win for sure. Strongman results team. Yeah, that's us. So the man that's made that comment is maybe possibly one of the people involved with the spreadsheet, but I can't confirm that. Did Felix set a new world record? I don't know yet because I'm doing this. So I want to be a surprise for once. So once I come off here, I'll let you guys know, update it. You'll probably know before me. Brian seemed to have lost some weight. Still the heaviest athlete in the final. He is the heaviest athlete in the final. Gavin Bilton was the heaviest athlete from Wales in the competition. So, you know, there are some other monsters out there. Definitely able to shift some weight. I honestly think the extended wait time has taken its toll. There was an issue earlier on. It did cause a delay, and now they're having to squish 3 events into one day when they were already squashing the whole World's Strongest Man into 4 days instead of 5. And 2 years ago, it was done over 2 weeks. So IMG definitely got the purse strings there, and they're definitely squeezing it to save a few pounds, but at what expense? It's no good with no athletes if they're all injured. So hopefully the learning for next year will be maybe do it over a week, 7 days, and have that break in between heats and finals. I'm not sure if that contributed to Hicks's bicep tear because he didn't have enough rest, or whether it was just bad luck on the event. But no athlete is indestructible, and they all definitely need to do as much as they can to look after themselves. I'm going to just zoom in on this screen. Maybe I'll get some more questions. Here we go. Shaw still has a chance at the podium on the next event regardless. Does he? I haven't checked the points, but I guess he'd have to win both the log and the stones, and then he'd probably come 3rd, but we'll see. What else have we got here? I wouldn't count JF out yet. No, definitely not. He's currently in top place, so definitely got the opportunity there to make the championships this year. Be awesome. Channel 5 have confirmed going out Boxing Day. So that is also later than normal. So normally it would be a run-up to Christmas. So you'd see a different event each day, and that would be, through the week. So you'd see the heats on a Monday, heat 2 on a Tuesday, heat 3 on a Wednesday. That's in the UK, so it might be slightly different. It might be slightly different in America, but that's how we get it. And the actual final, the grand final, which is normally now a 90-minute episode, is done on the 1st of January, so, New Year's Day. So that's what I'm expecting. So if they're showing it Boxing Day, then it looks like it's going to be further into January than normal. Probably due to the timing of this. This whole thing has been months later than normal. Brian needs to start competing more. He does only do twice a year because he didn't need to. He'd always kind of cruise and do well at the Arnold, make the Arnold final, and he'd always get invitation to the World's Strongest Man, and it seems like this year's just not been his year. So I do wonder what else he can do. He has changed his nutritionist back to the same guy he had before. He's changed his training. He's built 2 gyms from what I can see, spent millions of dollars. But maybe that's not what it's about. Maybe, the younger guys like Novikov, who's got nothing. I'm not saying he's got nothing, but he has a lot less than Brian. Maybe he's more hungry for that title, or maybe it's just age and Brian is a little bit older now. But I'm sure he'll cover that in his videos. Does Shaw still stand a chance not to take the title this year, unfortunately? Felix didn't make the final, so he didn't get a chance to do the Hercules hold. I was told Mark was going to get a go anyway because he is the current world record holder, and something that would have been really exciting is if they gave Magnus Ver Magnusson a chance, because when he did that at the Giants live show, he absolutely smashed it and took everyone by shock, and now he's got a new knee. I think Magnus could definitely be in with a shout to challenge Mark's title. So if Colin Bryce can make that happen, I think that would definitely be a worthy addition to the World's Strongest Man. And if not, just film it anyway and use it for something else. It would be awesome to see what Magnus could now do now he's had his operation. I'm sorry, but the period at the top historically is 7 years unless your name is Z. I mentioned Brian was on the downward slope 2 years ago and has been true to form ever since. I'm not a Brian hater, just a realist. I think the problem is everyone loves Brian. He's done so well. He provided such a great rivalry between him and Zydrunas. And to watch him struggle, if you want to call it that, I mean, he made the final. He's still going to be top 10 in the world at least. It just is a big shame, isn't it? But hopefully he can put it back and finish, as high as possible. What else have we got here? Comments on Luke's performance in his first World's Strongest Man. So Luke Richardson is doing, he's made the final, so he's top 10 in the world, which is great. Obviously, previously he'd only won Europe's Strongest Man. I say only. He'd won that recently, so it's his first sort of giant World's Strongest Man competition. Probably a little bit daunting. He's quite a young guy. I will say I expected him to place better, at least in the deadlift. But you've got to take into account the other events he's doing, the other competitions, the other parts of this competition. So he's not deadlifting fresh like he might be in a training video. And also the 18-inch pull is very different to a standard pull. It's from a different height. So, it's definitely not, it's not what I expected. I expected him to be much, much higher, but I'm sure he'll address that in the next time he goes to compete and we'll see bigger numbers. What's it say here? Thoughts on the newcomers this year? I think Alexi's done really well. Really unfortunate for Evan Singleton. He was smashing it and then unfortunately also tore his bicep like Graham. So it seems to be a bit of a theme. I don't know if it was on the same event, but it's just a real shame. That guy was working so hard towards it and doing really well up until that point. So fingers crossed Evan comes back fighting for next year. How weird is it without the crowds? I actually like the arena. I think it looks really clean and it will look good for TV. They've been able to, control the lighting a bit, so it might look very nice. It will be weird without a crowd. And I did suggest to Colin with the black background, I don't know what kind of wizardry they can do, but they could maybe have scores up on the wall or a CGI crowd or backdrop, or maybe even messages from the fans that they've picked up over the course of this last few weeks. They could definitely do that and incorporate the community within the show itself. There's got to be something they could do. Always ways to make shows better, definitely. If Tom can do 210, he can win event, just has to go for it. I think you're talking about the 210 stone. There's 8 stones in the stone run. Normally, historically, there's only been 5 from memory. And so to have 8 stones is great. It's really going to separate the guys out, and that's what they need at this stage. A couple of the guys at the top 4, very, very close. And the more stones, the more room for error. and the more chance for other people to maybe gain some time if someone gets stuck on that final stone. So I don't think Tom Stoltman will get stuck, but it will definitely be interesting to see how the other guys get on. Adam Bishop, a really great stone lifter, and JF Caron, he's just a machine. He's not going to stop until he gets that final stone, and trust me, he will get that final stone. Have they started the log ladder event? Probably won't be too long. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll cut it off there. I just wanted to say hi. I hope I answered some of your questions, and I'll post this up on my YouTube channel a bit later for anyone who wants to re-watch it. But thanks for all your support. Thanks for all the shares, likes and comments. It goes a long way to helping grow the channel. I've still got one of the smallest channels compared to people like Starting Strongman, but definitely do my best to get the information out. So have a great day. Hope you enjoy the rest of Sunday, and I'll see you on the other side with some more World's Strongest Man information. Catch you later.